ability to govern your own kingdom. The first battle is the conquest of the lower self by the real self. Affirmation. I am asserting the mastery of my real self.
After 500 yards, leave the roundabout at the third exit. Then take the next left turn immediately and continue to follow 8205.
Which tempt you to act on the lines of the lesser self instead of following the course dictated by the real self. In the moment of doubt and hesitation, say these words earnestly, and your way will be made clear to you. Repeat them several times after you retire and settle yourself to sleep. But be sure
Leave the roundabout at the third exit. Then take the next left turn immediately.
form the mental image of the real self, asserting its mastery over the lower planes of your mind. See the king on his throne. You will become conscious of an influx of new thought, and things which have seemed hard for you will suddenly become much easier. You will feel that you have yourself well in hand, and that you are the master and not the slave. The thought you are holding will manifest itself in action, and you will steadily grow to become that which you have in mind. Exercise. Fix the mind firmly on the higher self.
Turn next
Draw
left.
inspiration from it when you feel led to yield to the promptings of the lower part of your nature. When you are tempted to burst into anger, assert the I, and your voice will drop. Anger is unworthy of the developed self. When you feel vexed, remember what you are, and rise above your feeling. When you feel fearful, remember that the real self fears nothing, and assert courage. Jealousy itself, think of your higher nature, cut down, and so on, asserting the real self and not allowing the things on the lower plane of mentality to disturb you. They are unworthy of you and must be taught to keep their places. Do not allow these things to master you. They should be your subjects, not your masters. You must get away from this plane, and the only way to do so is to cut loose from these phases of thought which have been running things to suit themselves. You may have trouble at the start, but keep at it, and you will have that satisfaction which comes only from conquering the lower parts of our nature. You have been a slave long enough. Now is the time to free yourselves. If you will follow these exercises faithfully, you will be a different being by the end of the year, and will look back with a pitying smile to your former condition. But it takes work. This is not child's play, but a task for earnest men and women. Will you make the effort? Chapter 5. The Secret of the Will. While psychologists may differ in their theories regarding the nature of the will, none deny its existence nor question its power. All persons recognize the power of strong will. All see how it may be used to overcome the greatest obstacles. But few realize that the will may be developed and strengthened by intelligent practice. They feel that they could accomplish wonders if they had a strong will, but instead of attempting to develop it, they content themselves with vain regrets. They sigh, but do nothing. Those who have investigated the subject closely know that willpower, with all its latent possibilities and mighty powers, may be developed, disciplined, controlled, and
After 400 yards, leave the roundabout at the third exit and continue to follow 8205.
obtain about the nature of the will, you will obtain the results if you practice intelligently. Personally, I have a somewhat odd theory about the will. I believe that every man has potentially a strong will, and that all he has to do is train his mind to make use of it. I think that in the higher regions of the mind of every man is a great store of willpower awaiting his use. The will current is running along the psychic wires, and all that is necessary to do is to raise the mental trolley pole and bring down the power for your use. And the supply is unlimited, for your little storage battery is connected with the great powerhouse of the universal willpower, and the power is inexhaustible. Your will does not need training, but your mind does. The mind is the instrument, and the supply of willpower is proportionate to the fineness of the instrument through which it manifests.
Turn left.
You needn't accept this theory if you don't like. This lesson will fit your theory as well as mine. He who has developed his mind so that it will allow the willpower to manifest through it has opened up wonderful possibilities for himself. Not only has he found a great power at his command, but he is able to bring into play and use faculties, talents, and abilities of whose existence he has not dreamed. This secret of the will is the magic key which opens all doors. The late
After 300 yards, leave the roundabout at the first exit and follow A20.
Not puny resolve, but crude determination. Not errant purpose, but that strong and indefatigable will which treads down difficulties and danger, as a boy treads down the heaving frostlands of winter, which kindles his eye and brain with a proud pulse beat towards the unattainable. Will makes men giants. Many of us feel that if we would but exert our will, we might accomplish wonders. But somehow we do not seem to want to take the trouble. At any rate, we do not get to the actual willing point. We put it off from time to time and talk vaguely of someday. But when someday never comes, we instinctively feel the power of the will, but we haven't enough energy to exercise it, and so drift along with the tide. Unless perhaps some friendly difficulty arises, some helpful obstacle appears in our path, or some kindly pain stirs us into action.
Leave the roundabout at the first exit.
And thus begin to accomplish something. The trouble with us is that we do not want to do the thing enough to make us exert our willpower. We don't want to hard enough. We are mentally lazy and of weak desire. If you do not like the word desire,
Follow the road for 3/4 of a mile.
some people call the lower impulses desires and the higher aspirations. It's all a matter of words. Take your choice. That is the trouble. Let a man be in danger of losing his life. Let a woman be in danger of losing a great love. And you will witness a startling exhibition of willpower from an unexpected source. Let a woman's child be threatened with danger, and she will manifest
There were some people they claim
that sweeps all before it. And yet the same word
We need to enter their front
and will lack the will to perform a simple task. A boy will do
Inside
all
driving
sorts
na
of work to
patient.
keep up
I
his
say
senses.
now kind
But the way you supposed to no we blow for the other people. That's what they make.
Desire. If you really want to do it,
Prepare to turn left soon and follow A2212.
I know say sometimes
the trouble is
not nice when someone will just cut
do these
it.
things, and yet you play your will. You say that you
But the way someone
but if you
will
stop
think
to
that
think,
right.
you will see that you really want to do something else.
Turn left after 300 yards and follow A2212.
Stop a moment and analyze the statement
You
that
get gonna-
put you in case. You are mentally lazy.
That's one gonna
That's the
go take you
trouble.
go
Don't
land
talk
for
to me about
only.
not having enough
Yeah.
will.
Whether they go brown or
Storehouses
not,
will
the
await
best
your
bet
use,
now
but
this
you are
side.
too lazy.
Turn third left.
People they go
Now,
brown
if you are
now
really in earnest about this matter, get to work and first find out what you really want to do. Then start to work and do it. Never mind about the willpower. You'll find a full supply of that whenever you need it. The thing to do is to get to the point where you will resolve to do. That's the real test, the resolving. Think of these things a little
Some of them
and
the
make
way
up your
their face
mind whether or
is
not
dry.
you really want to be a willer
This
sufficiently
one people
large
do
to
like
get
a
to
Always.
better person.
That's so.
Many excellent essays and books have been written on the subject, all of which
When you
agree
need them
regarding
for
the
work like
greatness
this,
of
you need them to
willpower,
behave
the
and
most
say now wow.
enthusiastic terms being
What's the
used.
meaning of
But
this?
few have anything to say about how this power may be acquired by those who have it not,
They go do
or
like
who
say
possess it in
everything.
but a limited degree.
Now them
Some
get
have given
everything.
exercises designed to strengthen the will, which exercises really strengthen the mind, so that it is able to draw upon its store of power. But they have generally overlooked the fact that in autosuggestion is to be found the secret of the development of the mind, so that it may become the efficient instrument of the will. Autosuggestion. I am using my willpower. Say these words several times earnestly and positively immediately after finishing this article. Then repeat them frequently during the day, at least once an hour, and particularly when you need something that calls for
Turn second left.
also repeat them several times after you retire and settle yourself for sleep. Now, there is nothing in the words unless you back them up with thought. The thought is and the words pegs upon which to hang the thought.
No, the
So
different
think of what you are
types.
saying and mean what you say. You must use faith in the story and use the words with the confident
Turn
expectation.
left after 250 yards and follow Burn
know where we
Turn next left.
You're self-sacrificing or meek or anything of that sort.
I put them for traffic sign. So every road when I think they tell me the road, this one are 30, some are 20.
Yeah.
And like say police, they don't enter out again to go clock speed.
It will prove a most valuable
But that's all when I get
so
now.
and you
That's
will
all when
see
I
where
get.
it comes
We
down.
expire next
If you
next
shirk this
2023.
exercise,
I'll
you
check
better
up.
stop right here and acknowledge that you
Okay,
do not
that
want willpower
mistake
and are
on you
content to
did.
stay where you are
Timo,
and remain
your school, when they go
weakling.
clock my speed.
Chapter
Yeah,
6.
3 years
How to
now, will
become
be next year,
immune to
2023.
injurious thought attraction.
So even though you say that if you road now 20, I'm maintain.
Turn next left.
To buy one, then you go buy the guy.
And many failures. You have been told this thing over and over again, but it will bear repeating. Fear is a habit of mind which has been fastened upon us by negative race thought, but from which we may free ourselves by individual effort.
Follow the road for 3/4 of a mile.
Strong expectancy is a powerful magnet. He who has strong, confident desire attracts to him the things best calculated to aid him. Persons, things, circumstances, surroundings. If he desires them hopefully, trustfully, confidently, calmly.
All these houses,
And equally
no
true,
parking.
he who fears a
Less
thing
than get
generally
back
manages to
from
start
front of
into
the house,
operation
maybe.
forces which will cause the thing he feared to come upon him.
What's the point?
Don't you see?
You go buy
The man
a house.
who fears really expects the feared thing, and in the eyes of the law is the same as if he really had wished for or desired it. The law is operative in both cases. The principle is the same. The best way to overcome the habit of fear is to assume the mental attitude of courage, just as the best way to get rid of darkness is to let in the light. It is a waste of time to fight a negative thought habit by recognizing its force and trying to deny it out of existence by mighty efforts. The best, surest, easiest, and quickest method is to assume the existence of the positive thought desired in its place, and by constantly dwelling upon the positive thought manifested into
Prepare to turn right soon and continue to follow A205.
I'm not afraid. Say boldly, I am full of courage. I am courageous. You must assert there's nothing to fear, which, although in the nature of denial, simply denies the reality of the object causing fear, rather than admitting the fear itself and then denying it. To overcome fear, one should hold firmly to the mental attitude of courage. He should think courage, say courage, act courage.
Turn right after 300 yards and follow Sangley Road.
All the time, until it becomes his normal mental attitude. Hold the ideal firmly before you, and you
Go
will
past that
gradually
side
grow
is
to
much
its
better.
attainment.
This side traffic.
The ideal will become
I know where
Ọ̀nà tí ìwọ sọ pé ká gbà
Let the
ló ń
word
control wa
courage
ń lọ.
sink deeply into your mind, and then hold it
Because
firmly
if you
there
make it
until
pass
the
this, you
mind
know, say if you go
fastens it in
straight, if you
place.
still take that
Think
side,
of yourself as being
but the
courageous.
traffic for that
See
place is
yourself
not.
as acting with courage in
just too
trying
much.
situations. Realize
The
that there
best
is
bet
nothing
maybe
to fear.
does it go with
That
this
worry and
side.
fear never helped anyone
But with
and
this
never will.
Catford side, if you pass it,
Realize that
there's no
fear
this thing.
paralyzes effort, and that courage promotes activity. The confident, fearless, expectant, I can and I will man is a mighty magnet. He attracts to himself just what is needed for his success. Things seem to come his way, and people say he is lucky. Nonsense. Luck has nothing to do with it. It's all in the mental attitude. And the mental attitude of the I can
Turn second right, then take the next left
also
turn.
determines his measure of success. There's no mystery whatsoever about it. You have
Tẹ́lẹ̀ tí mi ò tí understand ẹ̀ mo máa ń ṣe mistake yìí. Ní tí mo tó wá sọ pé turn right after 200 miles. Bó ṣe máa ń pín yẹn, máa mọ̀ pé
Why, he will
kò tí ì
walk
tó.
all around the I can't man, who has perhaps even more ability. The first mental attitude brought to the surface latent qualities,
These are
as well as
blended, all
attracted
these
help
cars
from
don't
outside.
come
Whilst the second
They
mental
go to-
attitude not only attracted I can't people and things, but also kept the man's own powers from manifesting themselves. I have demonstrated the correctness of these views, and so have many others. And the number of people who know these things is
All
growing
these shows,
every
and when you
day.
need this, if
Don't
you
waste
take
your
them,
thought force, but
wow.
use it to advantage. Stop attracting
they all-
Turn next left.
unhappiness,
Busy
inharmony,
area,
sorrow.
pass.
Begin now and send out a current of bright, positive, happy thought. Let your prevailing thought be, I can and I will. Think, I can and I will. Dream, I can.
Follow the road for 1 mile.
Say, I can and I will. And act, I can and I will.
and I do God.
the I can and
How
I
much more
will
is your
command.
lesson?
Fear is the parent of worry, hate,
I
jealousy,
know they watch for
malice,
TV and they say,
anger, discontent,
you go
failure, and
do
all the
riot.
rest. The man who rids himself of
By
fear
the end
Go
of
for that
that the
one.
rest of the brood
you go pay
disappear.
an hour now.
That's
The
a
only
little
way
more
to
power.
be free is to get rid of
Frustration.
fear.
Too much.
Tear it out by the roots. I regard
Now
the
the
No-
most,
no
fear
changes
as the most
again.
important thing na
taken by those who wish to
the
master
food
the
for him to dey
application
feed.
of thought
Na him be
force.
the main.
So long as fear masters
And not be saying do the riot,
no
one kind better
condition
thing.
Eh, one kind.
Now I watched one documentary of
I
one
must
stupid police
insist that
officer
you
wey be
start to
say
work at once to get
they
rid of
called
this
them, the company
obstruction.
called them.
You can do it.
Now in carrying
Only
boys,
go about
by
it in
inspector
earnest. And when you have
land
rid
there,
yourself
then they
of
land
that final thing,
just like
life will seem
company
entirely
riot.
Na riot dey go.
Company they do protest.
freer, stronger,
So
more
when the
positive,
police
and will be
people
more
come,
successful
the
in
people when they do
every
the protest were
undertaking of
so
life.
mad.
Start
You understand?
today. Make up your mind that
You know,
this
someone shoot
intruder
the
must
police.
go.
You
Do
shoot
not
the
compromise
police.
matters with him, but insist upon an
Oh, shoot the
absolute
police.
surrender on his part. You will find the task difficult
By the
at
end of
first,
the day,
but each time
they
you
realize,
oppose him, he
say,
will grow
na
weaker,
police officer
and you will be stronger.
carry and go hospital
Shut off his
from one hospital,
nourishment.
say make they fly am
Starve him
out.
to death. He
It's more than the
cannot
company
live in
say
a
you no go take the
atmosphere of
responsibility of flying
fearlessness.
it out again. Say
Start
because na
your
im job
mind
in they
with
do.
good, strong,
From there the man don't they
fearless
complain. I
thoughts.
say they don't
Keep
abandon and
yourself
give
busy
in
thinking
family.
fearlessness,
They
and fear
abandon
will
them.
They don't
die of its
abandon
own
them.
accord. Fearlessness
For more than
is
6-7
positive.
years now.
Fear
Government
is
knows they
negative,
look after them.
and you may be
People
sure
ain't call
that
and
the
know they look
positive
after them.
will
Now
prevail.
this side the street
So
now.
long as
this
fear
one
is
side
around
they
with
go
this,
see.
but if
Nobody they look after them.
suppose,
Now they cry
I'm
for
afraid,
Facebook. You
I
need help.
can't. What if?
You need
And
help,
all
you
the
need
rest
help.
of his cowardly
The company
suggestions,
don't abandon
you will
them.
not be able
Police
to
don't
use your
abandon
thought
them.
force to the best
Get us
advantage.
They no pay them
Once you
again.
get him out of the way, you
The
will
company
have
say
clear
he
sailing,
was doing
and
it to the
every
body.
Not
thought
BP and
sail
No,
will catch
the first time the company won't help him, make they go treat him because you cannot see again. Your eye don't blind.
The whale who swallows him will have my
So
sympathy.
the next thing, and only God no go advise the
You start
company.
in to do some of the
Say
things
it's not
which
in
you
duty
feel
to
you
go
could
take
do
care of
if
the
you were not
police.
afraid to try.
No,
Because
duty.
Start to
the
work
police
to
they
do
doing
these
work.
things, affirming courage all the way through, and you will be surprised to see how the change in
Carry
your
police
attitude
work
will
for
clear
it.
away obstacles from your path, and will make things very much easier than you had anticipated. Exercises of this kind will develop you wonderfully, and you will be much gratified at the result of a little practice along these lines. There are many things before you awaiting accomplishment, which you can master if you will only throw aside the yoke of fear, if you will only refuse
Prepare to turn right soon and follow A2015.
the I and its power. And the best way to vanquish fear is to assert courage and to stop thinking of fear. By this plan, you will train the mind into new habits of thought, thus eradicating the old negative thoughts which have been pulling you down and holding you back. Take the word courage with you as your watchword and manifest it in action. Remember,
Turn right after 300 yards and follow
Don't read
A2015.
this one.
fear,
I
fear.
think.
Now this one, I never
Cowardly
did
jab at the
that.
best, who will
300
worry to
yards
show
now.
a
See
brave
the
front.
front. See the owl. No see him.
Chapter 7.
The white
The
thing they so.
transmutation of negative thought.
If not before now, this is not here.
Worry is the child of fear.
300 yards.
If
So
you kill
200
out
yards
fear,
now go be
worry
there.
will die for want of
And
nourishment.
when the yard
This
finish, you
advice
have
is
a turn.
very old, and yet it is always worthy of repetition. For it is a lesson of which
That
we are
one can
greatly
take
in
you, one
need.
go take you
Some
past
people
it.
They
think
go
that
take you
if
past
we
all those
kill
places,
out
come
fear
here.
and
I don't
worry, we
understand.
will never be able to accomplish anything.
Yeah, that's it.
I have read
Very
editorials in
far.
the great journals in which the
I don't
writers
think
held
you
that
can
without
pass.
worry, one can never accomplish any of the great tasks of life, because worry is necessary to stimulate interest and work. This is nonsense, no matter who utters it. Worry never helped one to accomplish anything. On the contrary, it stands in the way of accomplishment and attainment. The motive underlying action and doing things is desire and interest. If one earnestly desires a thing, he naturally becomes very much interested in its accomplishment and is quick to seize upon anything likely to help him to gain the thing he wants. More than that, his mind starts up a work on the subconscious plane that brings into the field of consciousness many ideas of value and importance. Desire and interest are the causes that result in success. Worry is not desire. It is true that if one's surroundings and environments become intolerable, he is driven in desperation to some efforts that will result in throwing off the undesirable conditions and the acquiring of those more in harmony with his desire. But this is only another form of desire. The The man desires
Turn
something
next right.
different from what he
Maybe I see
has.
this enough
And when his
already.
desire becomes strong enough that his entire
Maybe I see the
interest is
mocha.
given to the task, he makes
Now,
a mighty
truly,
effort,
Doctor,
and the
something.
change is accomplished.
Now,
But it
everything
wasn't
that they
worry
think
that
like,
caused the effort.
wow.
Worry would content itself with wringing its hands and moaning, "Woe is me," and wearing its nerves to a frazzle and accomplishing nothing. Desire acts differently. It grows stronger as the man's conditions become intolerable. And finally, when he feels the hurt so strongly that he can't stand it any longer, he says, "I won't stand this any longer. I will make a change." And lo, then desire springs into action. The man keeps on wanting a change the worst way, which is the best way, and his interest and attention being given to the task of deliverance, he begins to make things move. Worry never accomplished anything. Worry is negative and death-producing. Desire and ambition are positive and life-producing. A man may worry himself to death, and yet nothing will be accomplished. But let that man transmute his worry and discontent into desire and interest, coupled with a belief that he is able to make the change, the "I can and I will" idea. Then something happens. Yes, fear and worry must go before we can do much. One must proceed to cast out these negative intruders and replace them with confidence and hope. Transmute worry into keen desire. Then you will find that interest is awakened, and you will begin to think things of interest to you. Thoughts will come to you from the great reserve stock in your mind, and you will start to manifest them in action. Moreover, you will be placing yourself in harmony with similar thoughts of others, and will draw to you aid and assistance from the great volume of thought waves with which the world...
Follow the road for 1 mile.
One draws to himself thought waves corresponding in character with the nature of the prevailing thoughts in his one mind, his mental attitude. Then again, he begins to set into motion the great law of attraction, whereby he draws to him others likely to help him, and is, in turn, attracted to others who can aid him. This law of attraction is no joke, no metaphysical absurdity, but is a great live working principle of nature, and anyone may learn by experimenting and observing. To succeed in anything, you must want it very much. Desire must be in evidence in order to attract. The man of weak desires attracts very little to himself. The stronger the desire, the greater the force set into motion. You must want a thing hard enough before you can get it. You must want it more than you do the things around you, and you must be prepared to pay the price for it. The price is the throwing overboard of certain lesser desires that stand in the way of the accomplishment of the greater one. Comfort, ease, leisure, amusements, and many other things may have to go. Not always, though. It all depends on what you want. As a rule, the greater the thing desired, the greater the price to be paid for it. Nature believes in adequate compensation, but if you really desire a thing in earnest, you will pay the price without question, for the desire will dwarf the importance of the others. You say that you want a thing very much and are doing everything possible toward its attainment. Pshaw, you're only playing desire. Do you want the thing as much as a prisoner wants freedom? As much as a dying man wants life? Look at the almost miraculous things accomplished by prisoners desiring freedom. Look how they work through steel plates and stone walls with a bit of stone. Is your desire as strong as that? Do you work for the desired thing as if your life depended on it? Nonsense. You don't know what desire is. I tell you, if a man wants a thing as much as the prisoner wants freedom, or as much as a strongly vital man wants life, then that man will be able to sweep away obstacles and impediments apparently immovable. The key to attainment is desire, confidence, and will. This key will open many doors. Fear paralyzes desire. It scares the life out of it. You must get rid of fear. There have been times in my life when fear would get hold of me and take a good firm grip on my vitals, and I would lose all hope, all interest, all ambition, all desire. But thank the Lord, I have always managed to throw off the grip of the monster and face my difficulty like a man. And lo, things would seem to be straightened out for me somehow. Either the difficulty would melt away, or I would be given means to overcome, or get around, or under or over it. It is strange how this works.
Leave the roundabout at the second exit.
When we finally face it with courage and confidence in ourselves, we seem to pull through somehow, and then we begin to wonder what we were scared about.
Very wicked.
This is not a mere fancy. It is the working of a mighty law,
I don't see more
which we
than
do
two
not
or
as yet
just more
fully
than two when you
understand,
say
but which we may prove
they
at any
confessing
time.
this. I think I'm sorry for my sin.
It's all very well for you new
Say
thought
no,
people
don't
to say,
think like
don't
that.
worry. But
You
what's a
want
person
to
to do
do
when he thinks
is
of all the
not so
possible
good
things
is
ahead of him which might upset
So
all his
tell me
plans?
about it.
Well, all that I can
Prepare
say
to
is
turn
that
left
things
soon
will
and follow
come
B230.
They don't see this on the
sometime in the future. The majority of things that we worry about don't come to pass at all. A large proportion of the others come in a milder form than we had anticipated. And there are always other things which come at the same time which help us to overcome the trouble. The future holds in store for us not only difficulties to be overcome, but also agents to help us in overcoming the difficulties. Things adjust themselves. We are prepared for any trouble which may come upon us.
Turn left after 300 yards and follow B230.
God not only tempers the wind to the shorn lamb, but he also tempers the shorn lamb to the wind. The winds and the shearing do not come together. There is usually enough time for the lamb to get seasoned, and then he generally grows new wool before the cold blast comes. It has been well said that 9/10 of the worries are over things which never comes to pass, and that the other 10 is over things of little or no account. So what's the use of using up all your reserve force and fretting over future troubles if this be so? Better wait until your troubles really come before you worry. You will find that by this storing up of energy, you will be able to meet about any sort of trouble that comes your way. What is it that uses up all the energy in the average man or woman anyway? Is it the real overcoming of difficulties or the worrying about impending troubles? It's always tomorrow, tomorrow, and yet tomorrow never comes just as we feared it would. Tomorrow is all right. It carries in its grip good things as well as troubles. Bless my soul, when I sit down and think over the things which I once feared might possibly descend upon me, I laugh. Where are those feared things now?
Turn next
I
left.
don't know. I've almost forgotten that I ever feared them. You do not need to fight worry. That isn't the way to overcome the habit. Just practice concentration and then learn to concentrate upon something right before you, and you will find that the worry thought has vanished. The mind can think of but one thing at a time, and if you concentrate upon a bright thing, the other thing will fade away. There are better ways of overcoming objectionable thoughts than by fighting them. Learn to concentrate upon thoughts of an opposite character, and you will have solved the problem. When the mind is full of worry thoughts, it cannot find time to work out plans to benefit you. But when you have concentrated upon bright,
when the
helpful
mind is
thoughts,
full of
you will
worried
discover
thoughts,
that it will start to
you
work
cannot find plan
subconsciously.
to benefit
And when
you.
the time comes, you will find all sorts of plans and methods by which you will be able to meet the demands upon you. Keep your mental attitude right, and all things will be added unto you. There's no sense in worrying. Nothing has ever been gained by it, and nothing ever will be. Bright, cheerful, and happy thoughts attract bright, cheerful, and happy things to us. Worry drives them away. Cultivate the right mental attitude. Chapter 8. The Law of Mental Control.
The
Your
law
thoughts
of
are either
mental
faithful
control.
servants or tyrannical masters, just as you allow them to be. You have the say about it. Take your choice. They will either go about your work under direction of the firm will, doing it the best they know
Law
how,
of mental
not only
control.
in your waking hours, but when you are asleep. Some of our best mental work being performed for us when our conscious mentality is at rest, as is evidenced by the fact that when the morning comes, we find troublesome problems have been worked out for us during the night. Or they will ride all over us and make us their slaves.
Turn left after 300 yards and follow A22.
People of the world are slaves of
Black
every
people, they
vagrant
look for
thought
church
which
to
may
come.
seem
They're not
fit to
going to
torment them. Your mind is given you for your good and for your own use, not to use you. There are very few people who seem to realize
The
this,
one way they
and who
will go down
understand the
for
art
check their
of
frustration
the mind.
of
The key
the
to the
advanced
mystery is
level.
concentration.
Yeah, they're
Then,
not
Our
going
then they will
practice
go
will
start
develop within
again.
every man the power to use the mental machine.
Turn next left.
When you have some mental work to do, concentrate upon it to the exclusion of everything else, and you
Before
will
this
find that the mind will
in
get right
the
down to
early
business,
2000,
to the
my
work at
favorite
hand,
road
and
is-
matters will be
I
cleared
dey
up
live
in
for
no
that
time.
place on Nashville,
There is
near
an
the
absence
park.
of friction, and all
every
waste
day
motion
now my
or
road
lost
is
power
on the
is
drive.
obviated. Every pound of energy
They
is put
use
to
that
use,
small
and
put
every
106
revolution of the
at
mental driving wheel counts for something.
This is now my
It pays
favorite
to be
road
able to be a
that
competent mental engineer. And the man who
And they work for
understands how
Nash
to run
College,
his
remember
mental
Nash?
engine knows that one of the important things is to be able to stop it when the work has been done. He does not keep putting coal in the furnace and maintaining a high pressure after the work is finished or when the day's portion of the work has been done. Some people act as if the engine should be kept running whether there was
Turn right after 300 yards and follow Oakwood Avenue.
worn out and wobbles and needs repairing. These mental engines are fine machines and need intelligent care. To those who are acquainted with the laws of mental control, it seems absurd for one to lie awake at night fretting about the problems of the day, or more often, of the morrow. It is just as easy to slow down the mind as it is to slow down an engine, and thousands of people are learning to do this in these days of new thought. The best way
Turn
to do
next
it is to
right.
think of something else, as far different from the obtruding thought as possible. There is no use fighting an objectionable thought with the purpose of downing it. That is a great waste of energy. And the more you keep on saying, I won't think of this thing, the more it keeps on coming into your mind. For you are holding it there for the purpose of hitting it. Let it go. Don't give it another thought. Fix the mind on something entirely
The barista
different.
when
And keep
now,
the attention there by
they
an
always
effort
come
of
in
the
and
will.
say
A little practice will do much for you in this direction. There is only room for one thing at a time in the focus of attention. So put all your attention upon one thought, and the others will sneak off. Try it for yourself. Chapter 9. Asserting the life force.
Turn right after 300 yards and follow Scott's Lane.
Getting rid of fear. Now I wish to put life into you. Many of you have been going along as if you were dead. No ambition, no energy, no vitality, no interest, no life. This will never do. You are stagnating. Wake up and display a few signs of
that
life.
yard.
This is not
Yeah,
the
that
place
is
in
it,
which you
Michelle
can
yard.
stalk around like a
Turn next right.
This is the
So,
place for
I'll tell you,
wide
measure
awake,
yard.
active, live people. And a good general awakening is what is needed. Although it would take nothing less than a blast from Gabriel's trumpet to awaken some of the people who are stalking around, thinking that they are alive, but who are really dead to all that makes life worthwhile.
Turn left after 300 yards and follow B to 51.
Express itself naturally. Do not let the little worries of life, or the big ones either, depress you and cause you to lose your vitality. Assert the life force within you and manifest it in every thought, act, and deed. And before long, you will be exhilarated and fairly bubbling over with vitality.
Turn next
and
left.
energy. Put a little life into your work, into your pleasures, into yourself. Stop doing things in a half-headed way and begin to take an interest in what you are doing, saying, and thinking. It is astonishing how much interest we may find in the ordinary things of life if we will only wake up. There are interesting things all around us, interesting events occurring every moment, but we will not be aware of them unless we
Follow the road for 1 mile.
and begin to actually live instead of merely existing. No man or
Yeah,
woman
it's
ever
not
amounted to
few blocks
anything
away,
unless he or she put life into the tasks of everyday life. The acts, the thoughts, what the world needs is live men and women. Just look into the eyes of the people whom you meet and see how few of them are really alive. The most
The
of
plot
them
is
lack that
100
expression of
feet
conscious life which distinguishes the man
400
who
feet.
lives from the one who
How they
simply
measure plot?
exists. I want you to
don't
acquire this sense of
100
conscious life
150.
so that you may manifest it
100
in your
over
life
50.
and show what mental science has done for you. I want you to get to work today and begin to make yourselves over according to the latest pattern. You can do this if you will only take the
The
proper
hundreds are
interest in the
being
task.
some now when they went around
Affirmation
about
and
the
exercise. Fix in your
That is
mind the
it.
thought
Now
that
they
the
are right.
I within you is very much alive and that you are manifesting life fully, mentally and physically. And keep this thought there, aiding yourself with constant repetitions of the watchword. Don't let the thought escape you, but keep pushing it back
towards
into the
the
mind.
with this.
Keep it before the mental vision as much as possible.
Now where's
Repeat the
weekend?
watchword when you
Going
awaken in the
towards,
morning.
8.
Say it when you retire at night. And say it at meal times and whenever else you can during the day. At least once an hour. Form the mental picture of yourself as filled with life and energy. Live up to it as far as possible. When you start in to perform a task, say, I
Well,
am
don't they come
alive,
towards
and mix up as much
Nash
life as
College
possible in the task.
road?
If you find yourself feeling depressed, say,
the
I
football place.
am alive. And then take a few deep breaths, and with each inhalation, let the mind hold the thought that you are breathing in daydreaming. Get down to business and live. Chapter 10, Training the Habit Mind. Professor William James, the well-known teacher of and writer upon psychology, very truly says, "The great thing in all education is to make our nervous system our ally instead of our enemy. For this, we must make automatic and habitual, as early as possible, as many useful actions as we can, and as carefully guard against growing into ways that are likely to be disadvantageous. In the acquisition of a new habit or the leaving off of an old one,
half of your life. I say, man, you need to now work on your contract life.
They go come, they always a bench.
Until the new habit is
Go bench your ambition, bench everything.
seize the very first possible
When
opportunity
you come out, bro,
on
this is not the
every
best
resolution
thing
you
you
make
ever,
and on every
decision
emotional
you ever
prompting you
make.
may experience in the
But
direction
sometimes,
of
So when you want to see where you come, you're not going to regret now.
This advice is along the
So when
lines
person
of
come here, if you
tools
don't go
students of
back,
mental science, but it states the
but say
method
you
more
won't go back,
clearly
you
than
know
the
why you are
majority of us
coming.
have done. It impresses
Just
upon
see
us
so
the
many
importance of
old people
passing
who
on
go back
to the
again.
subconscious
No.
mind
Because the system don't want you to
so
go
that
back
they will
again.
become
System don't
automatic
favor them
and
anymore.
second nature. Our subconscious mentality is a
don't
great
blame
Prepare to turn right soon.
suggestions from
So
ourselves
when you
and
get a
others.
good business,
And as it is the
good
habit
business, when you
mind,
see
we
money,
must be careful to
when
send
you
it
go
the
back
raw
home, you
material
see
from
money
which
back
it may
home.
make habits. If we get
You
into
don't
the
go worry
habit
too
of
much
doing
now.
certain things,
When
we
we
may
go
be
back
sure
home,
that
hungry,
the
hold you,
subconscious
won't come back.
mentality will make it easier for
Problem
us
won't
to
come
do
back.
just the same thing.
No
over
light.
and
Turn
over
right
again.
after 300 yards on Fulham Hayes Hill Road.
Firmly bound
Now,
with the
near
roots
the
and
college,
chains of the habit, and find it more or
easy.
less difficult, sometimes almost impossible, to free
That's
ourselves
right.
from the hateful thing. We should cultivate good habits against the hour of need. The time will come when we will be required to
Now,
put
the
forth
next
our best efforts, and it rests with us today whether that hour of
Turn
need
next
will
right.
doing the proper thing automatically and almost without thought, or struggling to do it, bound down and hindered with the chains of things opposed to that which we desire at that moment. We must be
Now,
on
I will
guard
take
at all
bus, so
times
inside
to
here with
prevent
the
the
bus.
forming of undesirable habits. There may be no special harm in doing a certain thing.
You will arrive at your destination after 200 yards.
Much harm in setting up the habit
wait
of doing
till
a
the
particular
puppies.
thing. If you are confronted with the question, which of these two things should I do?
That one,
The best answer is, I will do that which I would like to become a habit with me.
Okay, good. Is it gonna rain today in London?
I'll go ask people now.
The next few hours look clear.
Now, where
Tonight
the
in
place
London, United Kingdom, there's a good chance of
You
rain
have
from
reached
about
your
3
destination,
a.m.
Typex Lane.
Noon.
In forming a new habit, or in breaking an old one, we should throw